Learn to love yourself more than anyone else. That sounds selfish, doesn't it? But tell me, who else suffers when you betray yourself? Who else bleeds when you bend your will just to be accepted? No one, only you. The world respects one thing: strength. And strength begins with self-loyalty. This is not kindness. This is not softness. This is power. Machiavelli said, "It is better to be feared than loved, unless you first fear betraying yourself." Today, I'll show you how to become untouchable by learning to love yourself more than anyone else. This is mental fort. And if you're ready to sharpen your mind like steel, drop a phrase in the comments right now. I belong to myself. 2. The foundation. Most people confuse self-love with indulgence. They think it's bubble baths, comfort food, and whispering affirmations into the mirror. That's not love. That's sedation. Real love for yourself is brutal. It is discipline. It is war. It is cutting out weakness like a surgeon cuts away rot. When Machiavelli studied power, he didn't praise those who were soft with themselves. He praised rulers who understood their own nature, who disciplined their own impulses before controlling anyone else. You cannot rule a city, a kingdom, or a company if you cannot rule yourself. Loving yourself more than anyone else means you stop betraying yourself for cheap validation. It means you choose respect over approval. It means your time, your energy, your focus are guarded like a fortress. Because if you don't guard them, the world will pillage them. So understand this. Self-love is strategy. Self-love is armor. Self-love is the first law of power. Forget this, and you remain a servant to everyone else's desires. Remember this, and you rise untouchable. Now pause and comment this phrase below. My loyalty is to myself first. Asterisk. 3. Fear, respect, and the edge of power. Approximately 300 words. Most people waste their lives chasing love. They are addicts, begging for attention, craving approval, desperate for someone, anyone, to validate their existence. But here's the harsh truth. Love without respect is useless. It is fragile. It is temporary. It is weakness. And weakness always gets exploited. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He said, "It is safer to be feared than loved." Why? Because fear commands respect. Love alone often invites betrayal. But let's turn this blade inward. What happens when you love yourself without discipline? You rot, you indulge, you turn soft, and softness is death. To love yourself more than anyone else, you must bind love with fear and respect. You must fear betraying yourself more than losing anyone else. You must respect your own rules, your own code, your own discipline, above the noise of the crowd. Understand this. If you command yourself, you command your destiny. If you betray yourself, the world will crush you without hesitation. The man who controls himself cannot be broken. He walks into a room untouchable. Why? Because nothing they can give, love, applause, acceptance, matters. He already has the only thing that counts: loyalty to himself. This is the edge of power, cold, sharp, stoic. When you reach it, you become dangerous, not because you seek to harm others, but because no one can harm you. You don't bend, you don't chase, you don't beg. You belong to yourself, and that makes you unstoppable. Anchor this truth right now. Write it in the comments. Prove it to yourself. Say it with steel. Respect myself. Fear betraying myself. Asterisk. 4. Rule yourself like a prince. Every man wants to rule the world, but few can rule themselves. And that's why most men stay weak, stay ordinary, stay controlled by forces they don't even see. Machiavelli studied kings, popes, generals, men who shaped nations. He observed one truth: the ruler who cannot command himself will eventually lose everything. Discipline is not optional. It is the currency of power. When you wake up in the morning, there are two voices inside you. One whispers comfort, Stay in bed. Take it easy. You've earned it. The other whispers command. Rise, move, build, conquer. The first voice leads to mediocrity. The second voice leads to destiny. If you want to love yourself more than anyone else, you must silence the comfort voice and obey the command voice. That's what ruling yourself looks like. You become your own prince, your own general, your own executioner. You reward discipline and you punish weakness. No excuses, no negotiations. Because let's be real, the world isn't kind. No one's coming to save you. If you cannot rule yourself, the world will rule you. If you cannot discipline yourself, the world will discipline you, with poverty, with humiliation, with regret. To love yourself more than anyone else is not softness, it is sovereignty. It means you take your own word as law. You set standards no one can lower. You become both the ruler and the ruled, both the master and the soldier. And that kind of self-command radiates power. People feel it when you walk into a room. They sense you are untouchable because you belong to yourself. Machiavelli's lesson is cold but clear. He who controls himself can control the world. He who cannot control himself is unfit to rule anything. So the choice is simple. Remain a subject to weakness or crown yourself with discipline. Lock this into your mind and type it into the comments right now. I rule myself before I rule the world. Asterisk. 5. Emotional detachment, becoming untouchable. Power is not just about action, it is about control. And the hardest thing to control isn't the world, it isn't politics, it isn't money, it's your own emotions. The man who cannot master his emotions will always be a pawn in someone else's game. Think about it. Anger makes you reckless. Lust makes you blind. Envy makes you desperate. Fear makes you obedient. Every empire that has collapsed, every leader who has fallen, every man who has been broken, it was never the enemy that destroyed him. It was the failure to control himself. Machiavelli understood this. He wrote that a prince must appear compassionate, faithful, humane, and religious, but he must remain ready to act coldly when necessary. Translation: detach your emotions. Use them as a mask, not as chains. Feelings are tools, not masters. The moment your emotions command you, you lose your edge. The Stoics said the same thing. Pain, loss, humiliation, these are neutral until you decide what they mean. You cannot always control events, but you can control your mind. And when you control your mind, you become untouchable. Imagine this: someone insults you. Do you explode in rage? Then you're their puppet. Someone rejects you. Do you collapse in despair? Then you've given them the keys to your worth. Someone betrays you. Do you break? Then they win twice, once in action and once in your reaction. Detachment is not weakness, it's power. It's refusing to hand your enemies the weapon they need to destroy you. When you learn to detach, nothing controls you. No woman, no boss, no critic, no crowd. You become the calm eye in the storm, cold, steady, dangerous. Understand this. The most terrifying man in the room is not the loud one. It is the silent one, the one who doesn't react, the one who watches, calculates, and decides his move with precision. That is real power. So how do you love yourself more than anyone else? By refusing to betray yourself with emotional chaos, by standing guard over your own reactions like a fortress, by becoming the master of your inner battlefield. Remember this line and etch it into your soul. He who controls himself cannot be controlled. Write it down in the comments now. No one controls me because I control myself. Prove that you're not just listening, you're programming your mind for power. Detach discipline, dominate, that's the law. Asterisk. 6. Loyalty, betrayal, and the law of self-interest. Here's a truth that most people don't want to hear. Loyalty is fragile. Friendships collapse. Relationships fade, families betray, alliances break the moment self-interest demands it. That's not pessimism, that's realism. And if you build your strength on the illusion that anyone will put you above themselves, you're already defeated. Machiavelli taught that a ruler must never rely on the loyalty of others. Why? Because loyalty is not eternal. It is conditional. People follow their interests, not their promises. Today they may love you. Tomorrow they may hate you. Today they may swear loyalty. Tomorrow they may sell you out. Self-interest always wins. So how do you survive in this world of shifting alliances? You build the one loyalty that cannot be broken, the loyalty you have to yourself. You become your own ally, your own protector, your own soldier. You learn to stand so firmly in self-respect that betrayal cannot destroy you because you were never leaning on anyone to hold you up in the first place. Listen closely. Every betrayal hurts only because you placed someone else's interest above your own. Every disappointment cuts deep because you believed someone valued you more than they valued themselves. Stop making that mistake. Machiavelli said it best. Men are ungrateful, fickle, liars, deceivers. Harsh words, yes. But truth isn't meant to comfort you. It's meant to prepare you. Understand the psychology of people. Most are loyal only until loyalty costs them something. And when their survival, status, or advantage is on the line, they will choose themselves. Always. Which means you must do the same. Choose yourself. Always. This doesn't mean you isolate yourself completely. Number. It means you engage with people strategically. You give loyalty sparingly, and you expect betrayal as a possibility, never as a shock. You build alliances like a Machiavellian prince, useful, temporary, and beneficial, but never the foundation of your empire. Because the foundation must always be yourself. When you learn to operate this way, you stop being desperate for anyone's approval. You stop being shattered when someone leaves. You stop being controlled by fear of betrayal. Instead, you expect it, you prepare for it, and because you prepare, you remain unshaken. Here's the paradox. When you no longer need anyone's loyalty, you actually attract more of it. Why? Because people sense strength. They sense independence. They sense that you do not bend for their approval, and paradoxically, that makes them respect you more. So hear me clearly. Don't demand loyalty, command respect. Don't beg for love. Earn fear and admiration through discipline and self-command. Build yourself into a fortress and let others come and go as they will. That is cold psychology. That is stoic realism. That is Machiavellian law. If you want to be untouchable, start with this iron rule. Never love anyone more than you love yourself. Never trust anyone's loyalty more than you trust your own. Never forget that self-interest rules the game, and the only interest you can truly protect is your own. Now prove you've understood. Type this in the comments right now. My loyalty is to myself first. Etch it into your mind. Say it until it burns in your bones. Because when you live by this creed, betrayal cannot break you. You are already untouchable. Asterisk. 7. Power dynamics and psychological leverage. Power is never given, it is taken. And once you have it, you must learn to hold it. The battlefield isn't always with swords or guns. It's psychological, it's subtle, it's invisible. Power is a game of perception, and if you don't understand it, you will always be a piece on someone else's chessboard. Machiavelli studied this game relentlessly. He saw that people are predictable. They want comfort, they want validation, they want to feel important. And because of this hunger, they are easy to manipulate. The one who understands psychology doesn't need to shout or force. He nudges, he whispers, he positions himself where the weak reveal their own desires. Now let's be clear. Manipulation is not always deception. It's influence, it's control of the frame. It's using the truth of human nature to your advantage instead of being crushed by it. Most people are ruled by impulses: envy, greed, lust, fear. If you know these impulses, you can anticipate moves before they make them. You gain leverage. But here is the critical rule: never lose yourself in the process. Many fall into the trap of seeking approval while trying to manipulate. They bend, they twist, they over-explain. That's weakness. True Machiavellian power is cold, detached, stoic. You influence others while remaining untouchable yourself. Look at power dynamics in everyday life. At work, your boss controls you only if you need his approval. In relationships, your partner controls you only if you cannot walk away. With friends, people exploit you only if you crave belonging. The common denominator? Neediness. The more you need, the less power you have. The less you need, the more untouchable you become. This is why the foundation is always self-love above all else. When you love yourself more than anyone else, you don't chase approval. You don't beg for respect. You don't collapse under rejection. You already have what you need, and when you don't need them, they chase you. That's the paradox of power. Here's a psychological tactic Machiavelli would approve: scarcity. The less available you are, the more valuable you become. Most people overexpose themselves. They talk too much. They explain too much. They give their time away too freely. Stop, pull back, make your presence scarce. Force people to earn your attention. Their minds will inflate your value automatically. That's leverage. Another tactic: unpredictability. If you are entirely predictable, you are easy to control. But if you are calm, yet slightly unpredictable, people hesitate. They fear misstepping. They respect your boundaries without you even having to enforce them. Think about the lion. Calm, silent, but everyone knows he could strike. That aura commands obedience. Remember this: people are tools, but never let yourself become one. Use alliances, use respect, use perception, but never surrender the throne of your mind. You are the ruler, not the ruled. To become untouchable in this game of power, you must master 3 laws: control yourself, anticipate others, and never reveal your entire hand. Speak less than you know. Show less than you have. Move with precision, not desperation. And when others finally realize they cannot control you because you do not need them, because you belong only to yourself, they will fear losing you. They will respect your presence, and they will play by your rules. That is cold power. That is psychological dominance. Anchor this into your mind right now. Go to the comments and write, "I control the game because I control myself." Let the world know you are no pawn. You are the player. Asterisk. 8. The fortress. Mindset. Becoming impossible to break. Every empire that stood the test of time had one thing in common: a fortress, strong walls, impenetrable gates, defenses that no enemy could casually break through. Now ask yourself, where is your fortress? Is it your home, your job, your money, number? Your true fortress must be your mind, because if your mind collapses, everything else follows. Machiavelli warned that rulers who ignored fortifications fell quickly. The same applies to you. If you walk through life with a weak mind, you will be conquered. People will invade your peace. Circumstances will invade your confidence. Emotions will invade your focus. To survive, to thrive, you must build walls inside yourself so high, so cold, so unshakable that nothing, no insult, no rejection, no betrayal can breach them. This does not mean isolation. A fortress is not a prison. A fortress is strength. You can still deal with the world, but you deal with it on your terms. People can knock on your gates, but you decide if they enter. That is sovereignty. That is power. How do you build such a fortress? With resilience. Resilience is forged through hardship, not comfort. Comfort softens you. Pain sharpens you. Every setback, every betrayal, every failure is a stone you can use to reinforce your walls. Weak men complain. Strong men construct. Each wound becomes armor. Each scar becomes a lesson. The Stoics knew this well. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the mind adapts and converts every obstacle into fuel. The insult becomes proof of your composure. The betrayal becomes proof of your independence. The loss becomes proof of your strength. This is how you turn suffering into fortification. But a fortress is not just strength, it is silence. The strongest walls do not need to announce themselves. They simply stand, immovable. Your mind must do the same. Stop explaining yourself to everyone. Stop seeking validation. Stop letting critics dictate your worth. The more you defend yourself verbally, the more you reveal weakness. Silence is not emptiness, it is power. Let your actions speak. Let your discipline speak. Let your aura speak. Understand this. The man with a fortress mind is feared and respected because nothing moves him. He does not panic under pressure. He does not crumble under rejection. He does not beg when abandoned. He stands firm, calm, and cold, while the rest of the world scrambles. That calmness is terrifying to the weak, because it reveals a strength they cannot touch. So love yourself more than anyone else by building this fortress. Guard your peace as if it were gold. Guard your focus as if it were a crown. Guard your emotions as if they were a kingdom, because they are. And when the storms come, and they will, you will not break. You will not bend. You will stand, unmoved, untouchable. That is the fortress mindset. Write this in the comments to prove you're laying your first stone. My mind is my fortress. I am unshakable. Say it again. Feel it. Because when your mind becomes a fortress, nothing, not love, not hate, not betrayal, not fear, can conquer you. And that is true power. Asterisk. 9. Cold strategy and the legacy of power. A fortress mind is the foundation. But a fortress alone doesn't win wars. It protects you, yes, it keeps you unbroken. But the man who stops there will survive without conquering. To dominate, to ascend, to leave a mark that echoes beyond your life, you must build strategy. Strategy is where Machiavelli and the Stoics intersect. Machiavelli taught rulers that appearances, timing, and ruthless calculation were essential. The Stoics taught men that emotions and impulses must be restrained. That clarity of mind leads to clarity of action. Blend the two, and you gain the blueprint for long-term dominance. First, understand this. Life is a game of moves, not wishes. Too many men waste energy hoping things will change, hoping people will recognize their worth, hoping success will come. Hope is not a strategy. Power respects calculation, not dreams. You must think like a general. Every decision you make, who you associate with, where you place your time, what you reveal, what you conceal, must be deliberate. Every move either strengthens your position or weakens it. Most people are predictable because they live impulsively. They speak without thinking. They commit without foresight. They chase short-term pleasure while destroying their long-term potential. This is where you separate yourself. You think in decades, not days. You play for the end game, not the quick win. Machiavelli wrote that rulers must appear virtuous, but act effectively. Translation: perception is power. The world doesn't reward honesty, it rewards results. You don't need to show all of yourself. You don't need to reveal every truth. Learn the art of selective display. Show strength, hide weakness. Show confidence, hide fear. Appear approachable when it benefits you, and cold when it protects you. That balance makes you untouchable. But strategy is not deception alone. It is also construction. Build systems, build habits. Build routines so disciplined they remove chaos from your life. Power is not just about outsmarting others, but outlasting them. Most men burn out. Most men collapse under pressure. You will not, because you've fortified your mind and disciplined your body. You will rise while others fall. Now, let's talk about legacy. Why? Because men who chase power without vision always end up hollow. Legacy is the ultimate test of strategy. What will remain after you? A man who only chased approval leaves nothing. A man who betrayed himself leaves regret. But the man who mastered himself, who ruled his mind, who moved with cold precision, he leaves behind influence, respect, fear, and a name that cannot be ignored. Legacy does not mean statues or books written in your honor. Legacy means that your existence shifted the world around you, that your discipline created echoes in your family, in your circle, in your empire, whatever size it may be. Legacy means you lived with strategy so sharp that people remember your presence long after you're gone. So here's the principle. Stop living day to day. Start thinking like a ruler. What moves today will make your future self untouchable. What alliances strengthen you, and which ones must be cut off? What habits destroy you, and which ones build the empire within? These are not casual questions. These are survival questions. Every day, you're either building your legacy or destroying it. Every choice is either fortifying your fortress or putting cracks in your walls. Choose like a prince, decide like a general, execute like a machine, and above all, never betray yourself for anyone, because once you betray yourself, your strategy collapses. A ruler who lies to himself cannot lead. A man who breaks his own word cannot command. A mind without loyalty to itself cannot leave a legacy. You want to become untouchable? Then don't just survive the present. Master the future. Play the long game. Move like the world is your chessboard and you are both king and strategist. Write this in the comments and etch it into your soul. I play the long game. My legacy begins now. Because when you think like this, you rise above the crowd. You stop being a player in someone else's story and you become the author of your own. And that, my friend, is the coldest, sharpest form of power there is. Asterisk. 10. The final law. Untouchable. Now you've heard the lessons. You've walked through the fire of Machiavelli's realism, the discipline of stoicism, and the ruthless clarity of cold psychology. But I know what you're asking. How do I put it all together? How do I live it? The answer is this. You must become untouchable. Not in the sense of avoiding life, not in the sense of hiding away. Number. Untouchable in the sense that no one controls you, no one breaks you, no one dictates your destiny. That is the summit of self-love. That is the crown every man should wear. So let's build this final law piece by piece. First, loyalty to yourself. You began this journey with the simple but brutal idea. Learn to love yourself more than anyone else. That is not arrogance. That is survival. When you put yourself second, you betray yourself. And betrayal always leaves scars. Stop bleeding for people who would never bleed for you. Stop breaking for people who wouldn't crack for you. Self-loyalty is the foundation of all power. Without it, you are dust in the wind. With it, you are iron. Second, discipline as law. Love without discipline is weakness. Discipline is the proof of self-love. Waking up early, training your body, guarding your time, choosing strategy over impulse. These are not chores. These are declarations. Every act of discipline is you proving to yourself that you matter, that you are worth commanding, that you are a ruler, not a slave. Remember this. If you cannot control yourself, you are unfit to control anything else. Third, emotional detachment. You cannot be untouchable if you are enslaved by your emotions. Anger will make you reckless. Desire will make you foolish. Fear will make you submissive. Detachment is not about being empty. It is about being sovereign. You still feel, but you never kneel to those feelings. You hold them like a dagger. You use them when necessary, but you never let them stab you in the back. This is cold psychology at its finest. Control the reaction, control the game. Fourth, betrayal and loyalty. Machiavelli was clear. Men are loyal only until their self-interest pulls them elsewhere. Expect betrayal. Prepare for it. Do not fear it. When it comes, you remain unbroken. because you never depended on it in the first place. Your fortress is yourself. Your loyalty is to yourself. Every alliance, every relationship, every bond, welcome them, but never chain yourself to them. Because chains, no matter how beautiful, are still chains. Fifth, power dynamics. Remember this: power is perception. You do not need to shout to command respect. You do not need to explain to earn obedience. Speak less, reveal less. Guard your time, guard your presence. Scarcity increases value. Unpredictability creates fear. Detachment creates mystery. Master these, and you will dominate rooms without saying a word. The lion does not roar to prove himself. His silence is enough. Sixth, the fortress mindset. You are the walls. You are the gate. You are the ruler inside the fortress. Nothing enters unless you allow it. Insults cannot break through. Betrayals cannot break through. Chaos cannot break through. Why? Because your walls are built from discipline, silence, and scars turned into armor. You are calm in the storm. You are cold in the fire. That calmness terrifies the weak and commands respect from the strong. Seventh, strategy and legacy. Power without strategy is wasted. Strength without direction is meaningless. Every choice you make either builds your legacy or destroys it. Stop thinking in days. Start thinking in decades. Stop playing checkers. Start playing chess. And what is legacy? Legacy is not statues. Legacy is not applause. Legacy is impact. Legacy is living so ruthlessly disciplined, so coldly focused, that your presence leaves a mark long after you're gone. A man who betrays himself dies forgotten. A man who masters himself lives forever through the influence he created. Now, let's put it all together. The untouchable man is loyal to himself. He disciplines his life like a soldier. He detaches from emotions like a stoic. He expects betrayal like a strategist. He commands respect through silence, scarcity, and unpredictability. He fortifies his mind like a fortress. He plays the long game like a prince, and he builds a legacy that cannot be erased. This man cannot be controlled, he cannot be broken, he cannot be bought. He belongs only to himself, and because of that, he commands the world. So the question is, will you betray yourself again? Will you keep bleeding for people who don't care? Will you keep chasing approval that weakens you? Or will you rise? Will you crown yourself ruler of your own mind? Will you become untouchable? If you're ready, prove it. Go to the comments right now and write this final phrase: I am untouchable. My mind is my fortress. Say it, type it, own it. Because that declaration is the line in the sand. The moment you say it, you begin the transformation. From pawn to player, from weak to powerful, from broken to unbreakable. This is your law now. This is your path. Love yourself more than anyone else. Rule yourself like a prince. Detach from weakness. Command respect. Fortify your mind. Play the long game. Leave a legacy. Become untouchable. This has been Mental Fort. If this spoke to you, if you felt the fire rising in your chest, if you felt the cold steel of truth in your bones, then don't just sit back. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notifications, because every week I'll bring you the tools, the psychology, the power you need to rise above the masses and build the empire within. But remember, power is useless if you do not act. So act. Comment your phrase. Say it again. I am untouchable. My mind is my fortress. And never forget, when you belong to yourself, no one can touch you. And that is true power. Asterisk.